Algebra 2, Chapter 5, Section 4, Analyzing Graphs of Polynomial Functions. Um, so right now, uh, we can talk about general trends of what the graph should look like. So we can draw a quick little sketch of it. But really the only way to graph these things is by using GeoGebra or making a table of values. And I'm going to do a combination of those things. Um, so let's take a look at example 1 here. We're going to graph this polynomial function. First, I notice that it's degree 4, and it's got a negative leading coefficient. So with a degree 4 negative leading coefficient, I know it's going to look something like this. I just don't know how many swoops it's got, and I don't know um, where it's positioned in relation to the x-axis. But I know it's going to look something like that. I know what the end behavior is going to be like, um, so I can uh, do all of I can figure all of that out. So I'm going to graph this. Now I need a table of values to work with. Well, I mean, it's a lot of work, but let's just do, well, let's go from -5, and I'm just going to do the odds. 3, -1, and 0, of course. I always like to do 0, 1, 3, and 5. Now, with something like a quadratic, there was always a nice line of symmetry. Higher degrees don't usually have a line of symmetry in it, so there's nothing defined there. So all I got to do is just plug these things into the function. Now, if I'm good about setting it up in my calculator, it can be an easier task for me. So I'm going to plug in my calculator -5 to the fourth plus -5 cubed plus 3 times -5 squared plus 2 times -5. And of course, you could also figure this out by hand, but I mean, how many people really know what -5 to the fourth power is? Not many. So it's handy to be able to do this quickly in your calculator and get used to it. So I'm going to hit negative parentheses, -5 parentheses, use my little caret, my little up arrow for fourth power, plus parentheses -5 uh, caret to the third, plus 3 parentheses -5, and the parentheses square it, plus 2 times parentheses -5. So if you look at my calculator here, I'll kind of hold it up to the camera for you can see it. Um, you know what, let me do this here real quick. This will be interesting. Bet you didn't know I could do this. Okay. So there is my beginning of what I'm typing in here. And I'm just kind of scrolling through it all so you can see the whole thing typed out. And then I just hit enter. And I get -685. Well, I'm not graphing that point. Now, the nice thing about these calculators is after I'm done, I just press the up arrow and I can go in and change all those -5s to -3s. So you can see here in my function, I'll kind of scroll backwards with it. You can see I just changed all the -5s to -3s just by pressing up and putting the cursor on top of it and typing in the new number. And I get -87. Okay, well, still probably not going to graph that point either. Change it all to -1. Hit enter, and I get, oh, -1. That's not bad. And now, the tricky part here with this one is when I'm changing it to 0, I want to get rid of the negative sign inside of there, right? So it's negative, parentheses, -1. I'm going to change that to hit the delete on the negative and type in 0 for the 1. Delete the negative, 0 for 1. delete the negative 0 for 1. Delete the negative 0 for 1. And then, oh, look at that. Actually get 0 when I plug it all in. And then go back in. Now that I've changed it all, so now it's just all positive, I can type in 1, 1, 1, enter, and I get 5. Do it again for 3s. My bet is this is going to be another really big number here. I get negative 21. Yeah, I'm not going to graph that. I'm not even going to plug in 5 into my calculator. I might break up my chart here. Let's do negative 2 and positive 2. Might as well. Or at this point, I could say, okay, I got some points there, but it's taken too long to calculate it. So let me go back and calculate it in, I think, am I right there? Yeah, that's the size I usually have. I'm just going to plug it into GeoGebra. So let me open up a tab at GeoGebra. I don't need to have that maximized anymore. You know, make sure you sign in. It's always good to do that. That way you can save everything that you're doing. Start my calculator. And if you notice that little caret symbol that we've been using on our calculator is also above the 6 if you hit the shift button. So I can type in something like y equals negative x, use a little caret, type in the 4th power, but my cursor's up in the power now, so I have to press right. That way I make sure it goes down. Was it plus x caret 3 to the right, 3x caret 2 to the right. Oh, I forgot my plus sign there. Is it supposed to be plus? Let me look at my calculator. Yeah, that's all addition except for that that 4th term there. Keep on going over. Make sure I'm out of the exponent. Plus 2x. And so there is my graph. Now, I would have had to plug in 2. See, it got kind of high there and did it. So it's not a nice looking graph. One thing you can do to kind of fill out your table of values, of course, is it looks like everything interesting is happening between negative 2 and 3. So I'm going to go here, table of values, start at negative 2, end at 3. And you know what? I'm going to make it half steps there. And now I've got my table of values that I can work with. So I'm going to sketch that by hand. And the way I sketch that is I just draw my axes. There's my axes. Pull out some different color maybe. And it looks like for negative 2 we have a negative 16, so it's really low. Negative 1 point is almost negative 5. So let's bring it here, and it comes up, and it kind of curves in close here, comes up, and then between 2 and 3 it comes up really high. Oh, no, sorry, between 1 and 2. This is the problem with doing it on this program, is if I have to erase, I have to basically start all over, and it looks like it comes back down again here. So I just use GeoGebra to make my table of values more accurate here and calculate it faster, but it gives me the sketch of the graph.